What's going on, guys? It is Bernardo, and today is all about installing SCOM version 2022 within server 2022. So let's get right into it. All right, before you start yelling at me, it's like, Bernardo, why are you showing us how to install 2022 if SCOM just released 2025? Now, the time that I was actually building this server out, 2025 wasn't even out there as of yet. As soon as I finished this build, 2025 came out of nowhere. So eventually I'm going to do another video on 2025, how to install it, or I might just show you guys how to upgrade 2022 to 2025. So I don't know which one I'm going to do, but let's get started. Now, the first thing that we need to do is create Active Directory accounts. Now, these are the Active Directory accounts that I created and I am going to be using within my SCOM installation. The only one that I forgot to add here would be the SCOM SQL account, but I have an action, the data access service, the data reader, the data writer, and an SCOM report service account. So these are all the ones that I am going to be using during the installation. With all these accounts that you have created, we need to add them into the administrative group of your SCOM server. So this is my SCOM server right here. We're going to open up the computer management and we're going to go into group and just double click on the administrative group and just add all those accounts in there. So I added my action, my data access service accounts, my data reader, my data writer, and my SCOM report. Just add them in there. Now for the database for your SCOM. So I installed SQL Server 2022 because I wanted to install the latest and greatest, right? That's basically what you want to do. I'm going to show you guys how I installed it, but I received an error, which I'm going to show you later on, that I had to kind of remove SQL Server 22 and use 2019. It's crazy, I know. But on the SCOM server, because I'm doing everything in one machine, I basically launched my file explorer. I already mounted the SQL Server 2022. It is the D drive. I'm going to right click on the D drive. I am going to click on install or run program from your media. It's going to give you this. Click yes here. It's going to launch the SQL Server 2022. And there it goes. Now, like I said before, I was trying to install the latest and greatest SQL Server. But at the very end, I received an error and I had to go back. One of the best things that you should do is when you are building a server and it's a virtual machine, take a snapshot, take a stable snapshot. Stable snapshot consists of you haven't done anything other than push out all the Windows updates. And that stable snapshot, just keep it until you have your application up and running with no problems. If you have any issues, you're able to roll back. So that's what I did. But again, I was trying to push out the latest and greatest SQL server, and 2022 did not play well with SCOM 2022. It is weird, I know. If you're following this and you are installing SCOM 2022, make sure you're doing SQL 2019, the latest and greatest. Push that out, okay? But it's the same process, installing a database. It's the same thing. So from here, we're going to click installation. We're going to click on new SQL server standalone installation. Click on that. It's going to start launching up. You're going to get this. I'm going to check off, I have an SQL server license only. I am going to click on next. I am going to check off, I accept the license terms. Awesome. Click next here. I am going to click next here. And again, my entire infrastructure, because I'm doing everything within my Proxmox lab, it is offline. So it's not able to talk outside to pull anything. So that's the reason why I received this particular error. I'm going to click next here. I'm going to uncheck Azure extension for SQL Server. I do not want that. I'm going to click next. From here, I am going to check off the database engine services. And I'm also going to check off the full text. And then for the directory, by default, it drops it into the C drive, but I am going to change it to the D drive. Click next. I am going to leave the default instant as is. So click next here. For the SQL Server agents, I basically gave it an account. It is the SCOM SQL and the password. And for the SQL Server Database Engine, I also changed it to the SCOM SQL. That account is just designated for this SQL, and that's it. I'm not going to use it for anything else. So we're actually going to click on the correlation tab. Just make sure you're using this SQL Latin 1 General, CP1. Okay, click next here. I am going to click on mix mode and I'm going to provide a password and confirm it. I'm also going to click on add current user because I am logged in as myself. So I'm going to click next here. A nice little summary. We're going to click install. It's going to start installing and we're done. It is time for us to install SQL Studio Management because you need to manage your SQL. Pretty simple. This is an installation file that you have to get online. So on the desktop on the SCOM, I'm going to open up the File Explorer and go into the downloads folder. There goes our SQL Studio Management setup file. I'm going to actually right click on it and click on run as an administrator. You're going to get the user account control and I'm going to click yes here. I'm going to switch the location to the D drive. I'm going to click install. It's going to start loading the packages and start installing itself, and eventually it's going to complete and just click on close. If you want to make sure that your SQL Studio Management is up and running on the SCOM server or inside your server, we're going to click on start. And from here, we're going to locate the SQL Server Management Studio 20, version 20. So click on it. It's going to start launching. And this is how the new version looks. The only thing that I did here was change the encryption. I clicked on the drop-down menu and I changed it to optional. Click on connect and it should connect. And if you click on the database folder, there's no databases, but it's up and running. We're good to go to continue to install our SCOM 2022. Now, once you have your SQL up and running, it is time for us to install SQL reporting services because that's separate. Back then, Microsoft was nice enough to have SQL Management Studio as well as the reporting services in one installation, but they separated those two things. I don't know why. It's weird. So on the desktop, on the SCOM server, I'm going to open up the File Explorer. And within here, I am actually going to go into my downloads folder. And there goes the SQL Server Reporting Services.exe file. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to click on Run as an Administrator. You're going to get the user account control. Click Yes. This is what we want. So click on Install Reporting Services. It's going to take you here. Choose what you want. If you have a product key, enter the product key and then click on Next. We're going to check off I accept the license and terms, then click next there, click next here. I am going to change the directory to the D drive and click on install. It's going to start installing and eventually you're going to get this. You're able to click close and then go back later and configure it. We're actually going to click on configure report server. It's going to launch this. We're going to click on connect and then there we go. Now, the first thing that we need to do is go into the service account. Within the service account, I am going to change it to use another account. And then I'm going to provide the account that I want to use for this report server. SCOM report, and then provide the password. Once you provide the password, click on apply. And at the very bottom, make sure it's all green and the task completed successfully, which is great. Now, next thing that we need to do is get into the database section. Now, once you're here, we're going to click on Change Database. We don't have a database, so we're going to leave it as the default as create a new report server database. So click on Next. I'm going to leave everything as the default. I'm definitely going to click on Test Connection to make sure we establish a successful connection. Once you do that, test connection succeeded. Beautiful. Click OK. Click Next here. For the database name, it's going to give it as report server. You're able to change it if you want, but I like to keep everything as the default. So we are going to click on Next here. For the credentials, leave it as is. Click Next. A nice little summary. Click Next. And bam, you're done. Click Finish. Now, next thing that we need to do is head over to the web service URL. From here, The only thing that we need to do is just click on apply. Once you click on apply, you're going to see green check marks, which is a good thing. The task was completed successfully. It actually created the web URL for you for your report server. Great. Now let's head over to the web portal URL. And from here, the only thing that we need to do is click on apply. All green check marks. It created the web portal URL for us and we're good to go. One last thing that we need to do within here is let's go inside the execution accounts. We're going to check off specify and execution accounts. Provide the account, the password, and confirm the password. And once you do all that, click on apply. Going to get all green check marks. The task was completed successfully and your report server is up and running. Great. Now, it is time for us to install Windows features. So rather than opening up Server Manager and then going next, and telling you what to check off, I'm going to just do one PowerShell command. So on the SCOM server, we're going to right click on the start menu. We're going to click on Windows PowerShell admin. It's going to give you the user account control. So just click on yes. And this is the command that we're going to enter. Add Windows feature and all this stuff. I'm actually going to give you all this stuff at the bottom, hopefully at the comment section. If I forget, just hit me up and say, hey, Bernardo, give us the command for the PowerShell. Strange thing is at the end, when you do the parameter of -restart, it doesn't restart. It really doesn't need to restart, but I like to restart the machine anyway. So once you hit enter, it's going to start collecting the data and also start the installation. Give it some time. It should complete. Like I said before, it doesn't really need a restart, but I like to restart the machine anyway. So I did the following command: restart -computer and restarted the machine, and just wait until it comes back and just log into the machine. Now, next thing that we need to do is install .NET Framework 4.8. On the SCOM server, I'm going to open up the File Explorer. I'm going to go into the downloads folder, and there goes .NET Framework 4.8. We're going to right click on the exe file. We're going to run it as an administrator. You're going to get the user account control. Just click on yes here. It's going to start extracting the files, and eventually it's going to give you this, which is great. It's already installed. Just make sure you have it. You know, I already knew I had it, but I just like to make sure that I have it installed because that is one of the core requirements for SCOM 2022. Now it is time for us to install ODBC. Again, I received the error, and I'm going to show you guys at the very end because, again, you want to get the latest and greatest everything when you're installing any application because you would think to yourself that it is compatible. So we're going to install ODBC version 18 drivers. I opened up the File Explorer. I went into my downloads folder, and there goes the ODBC file or the MSI file. We're going to right click on it, and we're going to click on install. It's going to start preparing to install. You're going to get the nice little wizard. We're going to click next here. We're going to check off I accept the terms in the license agreement. Click next there. Leave it as the default. Click next. Click install. You're going to get the user account control. So just click on yes. It's done. Click on finish. We're good to go. It is time for us to start the installation of SCOM. So mount the ISO or extract the ISO files from your SCOM image. I already have it here within my downloads folder. There goes the setup.exe file. So I am actually going to select it. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to select run as an administrator. You're going to get the user account control. So click yes here. And it's going to launch the System Center 2022 Operation Manager Wizard. Awesome. Click on install. It's going to launch Operation Manager Setup. Give it some time, and eventually it's going to give you this. From here, we want everything, so check off all four. We want the management server. We want the operations console. We want the web console. We want the reporting server because we did all that stuff. Click next. By default, it's going to drop it here. I'm going to switch it to my S drive. I created a partition designated for my SCOM. So S for SCOM. So click next there, click next, and we need to create the first management server. I gave it the following, BTNHD. Click next. Check off I have read, understood, and agree with the license and terms. Click next there. Now for the database, insert your server name. For me, it's a local, so it's SCOM. It's going to automatically pre-populate everything for you, which is great. I let the database size as the following. You are able to increase it. This is up to you. Click next. For the warehouse database, I just entered SCOM because again, everything's going to be local. It's going to pre-populate everything for you. Great. You are able to change the database size. That's up to you. Because I have a small environment, I left it as the default as 1,000 megabytes. So I click next there. For the SQL Server Instant for reporting services, it should pick up your report services. If it does, click next here. It's going to start processing and analyzing and making sure it has access to the reporting services. If it does, it should bypass this and take you here, which is great. I click next here. I am going to leave the use mix authentication. Click next. And with all those AD accounts that we created, which I showed you at the very beginning, this is where you enter all that information. For the action, there goes for the data access service, for the reader, for the writer. Enter all that information. You're good to go. Click next here. Clicked on off. I click next, a nice little summary, and then click on install. And then just wait. This process took a long time, and eventually it gave me this. A bunch of red X's. This is pretty scary. It kind of sucks because you think everything will work. But the first error. So open up the log. It actually gives you the location of where the log files are at. And when you read the log files, the first error is this. And when you do a lot of Googling, this right here is because TLS needs to be enabled within your SCOM server. So when you do a lot of Googling, a lot of people tell you do this, do that, do this. I was able to find two great PowerShell scripts. One actually tells you the status of your TLS, and the other one configures your TLS for your SCOM. The first one is this one right here, which I will provide the links to my GitHub to these PowerShell scripts so you guys can have access to it. But when you run it, it basically tells you that almost all the TLS are not enabled at all on your server. It's not enabled. The second one actually enforces the TLS 1.2 for your SCOM. You run it and it makes modifications for you. Make sure that you reboot your server. It actually tells you reboot this server now once it completes it. So you have to reboot your server once the TLS features are enabled. Once you log into your machine and you run that first PowerShell, you're going to see that on is enabled column, it says now false, false, false. But the ones that say true, 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 true is the one that you really need for your SCOM. Now, I did more Googling because that error is attached to something else. And this guy right here, he is like the god of all gods of SCOM. And once you enable TLS 1.2, you have to have certain ODBC drivers as well as the OLEDB drivers. You have to have it a certain version for SCOM 2022 to install successfully. And these are the versions that you need. So I needed to go where? I needed to go inside my control panel. I don't have those versions that the god of all gods of SCOM stated. So I actually had to remove all that stuff. I had to remove 17 and 18 ODBC drivers as well as the OLEDB driver. I removed them all. I went online and I searched for basically that ODBC as well as the OLEDB drivers. I found them. The first one is the ODBC. So I selected that file. I right-clicked on it. I clicked on install. It started preparing to install. This is version 17. This is the version that we need. This is the sweet spot version for SCOM 2022 to install successfully. So click install. I checked off I accept the terms in the license agreement. Click next here. Click next. Click install. You're going to get the user account control. Click yes, and then done. Next thing that we need to do is install the OLEDB drivers. So select the file, right-click on it, install. It's going to start preparing to install. And this is the version that we need. Again, this is the sweet spot version that we need for SCOM 2022 to install successfully. So click next. Check off I accept the terms in the license agreement. Click next again. Click next. Click install. User account control. Click yes. Installation was done. Click finish. Awesome. So Head back inside the control panel, and there goes the two flavors that we need. ODBC driver 17 version 17.10 .5.1, and then the OLE DB is now version 18.6.7.0. Those are the two sweet spot versions that we need for SCOM to run. Now, if you look deeper into the logs, I noticed that a lot of things were not installing properly inside the database. Uh, so I did a lot of more Googling, and apparently SCOM does not like, well, SCOM version 2022 does not like SQL 2022. So I actually had to revert back from my stable and start everything over again. Eventually, what I did was install SQL Server 2019, the latest and greatest one. I installed it on the SCOM server. See, SCOM server 2019 SQL. So I installed that. So once I had everything the way it was supposed to be, I restarted the wizard. I got to this point. I waited. I was biting my nails. I was like, oh my God, come on, come on. Move, move, move. And then when it moved to the management server, I was like, yes, because it was failing at the database configuration part. But once it went to the management server, I was like, yes. And I waited. I got a nice little exclamation point, which was okay. And it went to the data warehouse. It bypassed that, and I got all green check marks. Now, the exclamation point from the management server is because I did not license my SCOM, and that's why I received that, which was okay. And I just clicked OK. And once I clicked OK, it launched it, and it was up and running. Yes, SCOM 2022 successfully installed. And that's my journey installing SCOM 2022. Holy crap. I mean, I'm telling you, it's the worst. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video and learn something from it. And I catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.